Okay. Hey, swing traders. What day is it? Let's take a look at the date. The date is Sunday, June 3rd, 2018. It's time to go through our swing trading. Let me remind you, however, that trading Forex is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results, so please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. So today, what we are going to do is go through the weekly trade setups. Just recently, I did the monthly trade setup. So hopefully, if things go well, we can find um, um, where both your weekly and monthly biases add up in a confluence of trading strategies. I mean, that's the most ideal situation. So without further ado, let's just roll up our sleeves here and get to work. It's Sunday afternoon. The market's opened about 17 minutes ago. So it's the very beginning of the week. There hasn't been any major gaps or anything, so let's just look for our support and resistance lines. All right, so let's just go. Let's start with euro dollar. You can see here on euro dollar, let me get my drawing tool. Euro dollar, we're below the monthly. So typically, bears are going to look to want to buy something like that. So then we have to ask, how good of an opportunity is it? Or did I say bears? Sorry, bulls. Bulls are going to want to buy it on the monthly, right? So here's a monthly M2. That's bullish. Here's the central pivot point. So as long as we're in this zone on a monthly basis, bulls are going to be looking to buy. So the question is now, if you're a bull and you're looking to buy, what are some good prices for you to buy this week? Oops. And that would be this correlation somewhere between the weekly central and weekly M2, which is here. So we have this a bit of a confluence. If you're a bull, we have a weekly buy zone here, and we have a monthly buy zone, in particular this pivot. So this is a buy zone for bulls. So bulls sometime in the next 18 hours are going to want to take them north like that. Euro dollar has not been bullish for a long time, but at least it's set up off of this, which was a logical place for a reversal to happen, right? And of course, for all those that are looking for reversals, there's your double bottom, right? Not just a double bottom, but a double bottom at a support, in this case, a pivot profit zone. So one of the things you can look for is a higher high, higher low, 1, 2, 3, and that has occurred. Okay, so maybe this is sort of the next move on a higher time frame where we come up, we come down, and then we head back up again. Okay, so that's what bulls are thinking. Clear that out. What are the bears thinking? Well, the bears want to sell in this zone on a weekly basis, right? But it's not that great because of everything I just said from a bullish point of view. So bears do want to sell here, okay? But they don't really have any monthly resistance going on, okay? So bulls have some weekly bullishness and some monthly bullishness. Bears have some weekly bearishness, but no monthly bearishness. Okay. All right. So let's just move on. Boop. Let's go to the next. Well, pig dog. Let's do that. Same sort of thing for the pig dog for pound dollar. Get the drawing tool. Clear that out. Bulls, monthly bulls are looking at this whole area. In particular, this pivot right here is the most ideal bullish pivot on a monthly basis. Okay, so someone might be thinking something like this right now. Okay, so that might be bullish. So if those bulls were going to buy into their monthly swing this week, this is the area that they want to do it. Okay. Now you'll notice that we've opened the week here. And what I often say is that's out of position. You're bullish, it's bullish, but it's too bullish. Okay. In that case, what you do is you change to a 4-hour chart, and you try to use the 4-hour 21 as a dynamic level of support. Okay. And you're going to look for something like this. Now remember, if you get this right, it's going to go up before you actually touch the 4-hour 21 because it is lagging. So you kind of want to get in before that. Okay. So now you got to look right. Are there any pivots in there? And all that kind of stuff. Are there pivots? Are there fibs? Are there roll reversals? Are there psych levels? Okay. But that being said, if you're watching this on an hourly chart or a 15-minute chart, you want to be long somewhere before 133.09. Okay, because that's what it is now. So in the future, it will be further to the right and up. Okay, so you want to get in before that. So you'll drop into smaller time frames and find reasons for that. On the bearish side, you're at a bearish zone, weekly bearish zone. This is a great selling pivot on a weekly basis, but there's nothing going on bearish in it, as a bear on a monthly. So it's just like euro dollar. There's a confluence to the upside, not a confluence to the downside, but 133.55 is a place to sell if you're a bear. Okay, if you're a bull, you want to pick it up before 33.09. Next. USD CAD. You know what? I have that on the other setup, so let's go over there. Where should be? Oh, I don't have it up here anymore. Gold, WTI. Oh, all right. Let's go back then. Too bad. I had dollar CAD on the daily webinar stuff. USD CAD. So let's go in here. Okay. We go out further to a 4-hour chart. Remind you of our monthly. And by the way, I guess I should point that out. Even though we did monthly on another video, notice how I start out always my analysis with the monthly pivots. So bears are thinking this, bulls are thinking this, okay, on a monthly basis. So with that being said, then I drop into a smaller time frame, or I simply look at weekly pivots, right? So here we are weekly. Okay, this area here is a sell. Okay, so according to this, selling seems to be a fairly decent thing to be considering, right? Okay, now the buy zone is in here. So bulls are kind of going like this, and bears have already got kind of all the reason they need to sell. So there's a confluence of 1.3000. That's also a M3. That's also a monthly M2. Okay. So there's a confluence. If you want to sell, you have permission. If you're a buyer, you're going to buy at, almost 100 pips below us where we are now. So it's really up to you. I guess you could buy it up here as a bull. Okay, that's true. That's true. So it's really you're buying it near 29.50, which is where we are. But 29.00 or 29.010, 29.00 kind of better, but it's your call. Next, let's do the yens. Okay. Now again, right at the right at the weekly central pivot point. Okay. Now, if you are a bear, weekly M3 is the same price as monthly central pivot. Okay, which means this is a sell zone for bears. This whole area is where a bear would sell. Okay, kind of a dangerous place to buy. So I think if you're a bull now, I think what you're going to want is something like this. Whoop. But bear in mind, if you buy it in here, or even a little lower, okay, you buy it down in there, which is around 145, so 100 pips below us. There's a lot of resistance above us because of that being a sell zone. Okay, so you either buy it low or you're selling it right now. CAD. Okay. Once again, near the central pivot. If you look last week, we talked about this, I believe, on Monday. On a lot of these pairs, we were near the monthly buy zone, even though it's dangerous because it's been so bearish. But there's, last week there was definitely some, if you're aggressive, opportunities to consider. Doesn't mean they're going to work, but there you go. So anyways, so now again, so like pound yen opened up near the central pivot. CAD yen opened up near the central pivot, and currently this is more of a sell than it is a buy because this is the weekly M3, this is the weekly central pivot. So therefore, by definition, as you know, this is a whole sell zone. So if you're a bear, fantastic. If you're a bull now, you're going to be looking at a trend kind of like this, right? So your logic now would be to have it come down and then maybe take it up like that. And that could be like London Open today. Well, like technically for me, it's tomorrow, right? So it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. So 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe I could be looking to buy it down in here and then pop that up and play it like a trend, right? Play it like a channel. But right now, it seems to be quite bearish. Next. Non-USD Swiss franc, USD yen. Okay, we'll take a look at USD yen. Okay, look, if you go back to the beginning of the month, which was last week, you may recall we looked at it and said, wow, that's very interesting. That is a monthly M2, which is a buy, right? You guys remember doing that? Like, that's really interesting. Well, if it goes down and then consolidates and then breaks out, right, it could be a reversal. So here we are, and so far that's exactly what's happened. It's really hard to make these calls, when it's been bearish for so long, okay? But it did reverse at a support pivot and then use this monthly pivot as a launch pad and is above the central. So it's a little more bullish than the other currency pairs that we've already looked at. One interesting thing is this is still a sell zone. So bears are going to try to bring it down like this. Clear that out. Bulls kind of want to do, really most ideally, is buy it here or buy it here. Okay, but there's a little bit better of a chance compared to the other pairs that we simply say, okay, I'm a bull. It's opened out of position, which is way above my, because down here is where you should actually be buying it based on swing trading. So you're a bull, the market's a bull, but it's maybe too bullish. That's why we call it out of position. So you want to switch to a 4-hour, look for the future 4-hour 21 and try to buy a dip off of that. And so that currently is around 109.20, but of course now it's going to be rising up above us. So I think, in this case, to try to guess where that's going to be in the future, or guesstimate, make a guesstimate where it is, I think I'd look at this support as well, okay, and play it as a dip. So just remind yourself, you're just buying a dip off of that when you're opening out a position. And the future 4-hour 21 is typically a good guide. So yeah, what is that, around 20, 25? Again, I said maybe we want to use kind of this stuff. All right. So you want to be buying it in the next 20 pips if you want to buy it off the future EMA, right? So again, let me just be clear. You buy it where you think the future 21 EMA is going to be on the 4-hour. You can buy it off the weekly central, or you can buy it off the weekly M2. All of these things would be bullish, bullish, bullish. Okay. Don't forget to use this maybe as potential support. Okay. And the bearishness is a little bit dangerous. You're in the sell zone, but you have all this other bullish stuff going on. So really, as a bear, you kind of want to get more bearish when you're below that. Okay. Aussie. Okay. Slight gap, nothing to worry about, it looks like. It's coming down, potentially using this for a roll reversal. So if you are a bull and your plan is up, you like the consolidation, you like the breakout, so now you're looking for the retracement. And now you're looking at weekly pivots, and the weekly pivots tell you you should be a buyer around here. And that's exactly this roll reversal, so that fits your price action theory, right? Reversal, consolidation, breakout, back to the scene of the crime, and continuation again. Let's put this to the typical template so we don't get confused. And let's do monthly. Okay. So price at just below 83 is a sell if you're a bear. And if you're a bull, you're trying to buy it down here, basically a pullback around 82. So you're a seller at 83 or a buyer at 82. Okay. And Swiss yen, I typically don't really cover it. Well, I guess I'll cover this part because it's kind of interesting. This is our monthly sell zone, okay, in black. And then in red is our weekly sell zone, which is here. Okay. Seems like this whole thing is an overlap, right? So bullishness is kind of lower than this. So right now it's more bearish than bullish in my opinion. If you don't like that, take a walk, right? Let's do gold and oil. Okay. In the past, we were talking about this as an interesting place for potential bullish price. You have to go back, I think, all the way back to the beginning of the year. This is actually December. This has been important in the past. And also, we know fundamentally somewhere around now is typically peak inventory levels in the United States. So maybe inventories start coming down over the next few weeks. And if that happens, typically oil prices go up. And so that's why we're thinking about a roll reversal in here and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, OPEC has a meeting this week, and you might hear Russia and Saudi Arabia talking about increasing supply to bring down prices a bit. But then you have to ask yourself, well, why would Russia and Saudi Arabia want to lower oil prices, right? So that they may send out the press release and it may move the market. So whatever. So you still should be asking yourself, do you want to be bullish or bearish on oil like any other currency pair? And that said, then we take a look at the pivot points. Okay. So currently, this area is the bullish buy zone, and we're below that. So that's not very good for bulls. This is the monthly sell zone for bears. Okay. But that happened near the end of the month. So that could have been an interesting place to sell you know, at the end of May, having looked at that and said, you know what, I'm a bear, it fell this far, so that when it fades back, which is approximately 382, you know, I'm gonna take a shot. That's one of the benefits of having these predictive pivots. We would have known that. Other than that, it's going to be difficult to sell this, right? So if we're down here and the weekly sell zone is here, then we're out of position. So take this to a 4-hour chart. Guess I was there. Well, let's kind of zoom in. And then what you kind of want to do is estimate where the 4-hour 21 is going to be in the future. So it's here. So if you're a bear, you believe it's going to be further to the right and further down. So yeah, so maybe if you get a move like this today, you sell at this roll reversal area and look for a continuation down. If you're a bull, you kind of want it to pop back up and start doing things like this. Okay, so Monday is the first Monday of the month after non-farm payrolls. It's mutual fund Monday, so maybe you get a stock market rally and we get a commodity rally. But right now, it looks like it's breaking through that support, and maybe that's a fundamental move. That's that. So just be careful. So selling, you'd sell off the future 4-hour 21, and if you're a buyer, I guess maybe the other thing that could happen if you're a buyer is this commodity drops down to the zone very quickly. So let's say on Tuesday, oil prices are down near 64 or 63, and then you try to buy it as a counter trend trade, but try not to get in career of counter trending everything. You know, I'd rather you trend. But anyway, so this is a big question mark. I thought this support was going to be much more important. So right now, maybe we just need some fundamentals to back it up, and suddenly we might be back above that. So pay attention. Let's move over to gold. Okay, so gold. Ask yourself your bias. What has been happening? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and you can see, I mean, hey man, maybe you can predict a future lower low. What moving averages in control? 21, 21. You can see I've even drawn channel lines, all that kind of stuff. So if you're still a bear, let's walk through it. Go to an hourly chart here. Okay. If you're a bear, where is the weekly sell zone? Weekly sell zone is here. Okay. We did that on Friday, as you can see. Here's the top of Friday. So it may be on its way. Maybe it comes back and gives you another chance. Hard to say. I mean, right? This is also difficult. I mean, yeah, it's Friday, but it's also non-farm payrolls. So, you know, it may be prudent to ignore even reasonably good signals just because of the extra volatility. Let's see what else we can do here. The future 21, so it's lagging here. Currently, it's at 1298. So, where is it going to be in the future? Down to the right. So it might be tricky. And I'm saying that because we're so close to this double bottom, but I guess we're not, right? I kind of want to ride, I want it to go up so I can sell it. Well, where would bulls buy it? If you were a bull, where would you buy this? Well, first of all, the weekly bull zone is between 1296 and 1291, which is exactly where we are now, 1292. What about monthly? Monthly is just below that at 1289. And then you can see there's a bunch here. So I think bulls are going to wait for a double bottom around 1290. So I'm wondering if it'll come down and give us the 1290, then pop up, and then drop and make a new lower low. Might happen later in the week. So let's take a look. Let's go back to this. What have we covered so far? Dollar pairs, yen pairs, gold, and oil. Well, I guess it's pretty reasonable for pivots. So some of these are setting up a little bit more one than the other. It doesn't mean that it's going to turn out that way. So again, what does this tell us as swing traders, especially when we're trading so early in the week? I mean, maybe you made the trade on Friday, maybe you're making it on Sunday, maybe you're taking it on early Monday. The thing is, for you to know before you've started the week what you're looking for. So if you're a bear and you happen to be right at a cluster of a couple of pivots, take the shot. You're not risking a lot. And you might be wrong. You just won't be very wrong. The next thing is if you're a bear and it's below the perfect entry, then you got to swap over to using moving average to get in. That's a little trickier. It's going to require a little more finesse, right? You need a different type of resistance, an EMA resistance, a psych level resistance, maybe daily pivot resistance, right? And then, of course, if you're counter that, so I gave you the example just now of you're a bear, but it opened up too bearish. What do you do if it's opened up too bearish and you're a bull? Well, now you're hoping it drops into the weekly target on a Monday or a Tuesday, like a pivot profit zone, and then you take the counter trend rate back to the central pivot, which is never a fun or easy thing to do. It can be messy, so just be very careful. And with that, I hope you had a nice weekend, and I can't wait to see you until our webinar tomorrow. So, anyways, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. See you tomorrow.